had a really good discussion about the poetry units that we have been going over. I just wanted to share that little artistic side of me because it is so much of who I am. Hello and welcome back to my channel and to another classroom vlog. So today's vlog is going to be a little different from usual. It's because I didn't film every day, and it's something that I'm trying to make sure that I have shorter vlogs that I upload so they're not super long. But basically I'm going to show you really quickly of what we've done in the past couple days and what we're doing now, because today is Friday, April 5th. No, not April 5th, April 6th. So on Monday, April 2nd, was our first day back from spring break vacation. And it was tiring, is not even the right word. I was teacher tired. Basically, by the end of the day, I had to go home and take a nap. It was a lot because trying to get back into the routine takes me usually a little while to get back into it. But it was a really good day. We had a really good discussion about the poetry units that we have been going over. I wanted to make sure I review that so that it stayed fresh in their mind since the students were away for a week. And I went ahead and I introduced the Funky Bunny activity that I saw Michelle from Pocketful Primary, I'll link it down in the description box below. I saw her share it in one of her classroom vlogs last week. But because last week we were in spring break, I wasn't able to do that activity with my students until Monday, April 2nd, which was the very next day after Easter, and I thought it would be great. Now to attach that activity, because it's a very heavy art-based activity, which I don't mind doing because I love integrating art into what I teach in the classroom. So in order to tie it to our instruction and what we're learning, I connected it to our Elements of Poetry reading standard. And I had the students write a bunny limerick to go along with their funky bunny. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to roll the date clip for that day. And it's gonna have a little bit of clips of the students working on their funky bunnies on day 1. So let me show you that clip right now. So as you can see, the students were starting to work on their bunny design and how their bunny was going to look with all the patterns in each section of the bunny. So they did that first, and then on day 2, which was Tuesday, they continued to work on it. So I'm going to show you a clip of what the students did on that day with their funky bunny activity. So that was the result of day 2. At the end of day 2, one of my classes was mostly done with their funky bunnies, and I started to go ahead and post them outside in our hallway display. And then I want to show you on day 3 how that hallway display looked, since on day 3, which was Wednesday, most of the students were already wrapping up, and most of my classes, for both classes, were done with both designing their funky bunny design and the funky bunny limerick. So let me go ahead and roll day 3 of this week. So as you can see, that was our outdoor hallway display, and I'll make sure that I show you the indoor classroom display as well for the Funky Bunnies. The students have had a great time writing limericks. They say, oh my God, this type of poem is really funny. They're having a lot of fun times writing it, and they love reading each other's limericks as well. Now, this process has been a little bit longer than I expected because I really have been going through the whole process of writing, with the pre-writing, with the writing, with the draft, with them conferencing with me. I have met with every single student in both of my classes, and I have 36 students throughout these past couple of days to make sure that they wrote a limerick that followed the proper format for a limerick, where lines 1, 2, and 5 need to rhyme. And so that they maintain that rhythm that limericks have, they need to make sure that those 3 lines, or all the lines that rhyme, have the same amount of syllables, and that lines 3 and 4 are shorter but need to also rhyme and have the same amount of syllables for those 2 lines, so that they can have a really good limerick that follows the format. And we're going over meter, we're going over rhyme scheme and rhythm. So it's been really, really good activity to have them see how, yeah, we've been reading and doing comprehension activities with poems, but now you're going to become authors and poets yourself and write those poems as well. So I really enjoyed that activity. And what we started yesterday, and we're doing it again today, is the other unit that talks about invention. So we're going back to informative writing and going over text structure again. Right now we are in what we call FSA crunch time, and FSA stands for Florida Standards Assessment. That is our state assessment. The official window for that test starting, which is computer-based for my grade level, as well as all the way to 8th grade, because I do work at a K-8 center. So from 3rd through 8th grade, the students will be taking their computer-based assessments starting in a week and a half or so, or maybe a week and 2 days. So the window opens on April 16th. April 16th. Yeah. So the window opens on April 16th, and my students will not be taking their reading test until May 2nd and 3rd as of now. Sometimes the dates change, but as of now it is May 2nd and 3rd, but they will be taking their math FSA assessment at the end of this month, April 25th and 26th. So it is our crunch time. We're trying to make sure the students review standards that we have previously taught. So nothing new is being introduced right now. Pretty much everything has been taught already. Now it's just reinforcing those standards. So that's what we're currently doing now. So I can't wait to show you other things that we're going to be doing today. Right now my room smells like barbecue because today is our spring barbecue day. The students pay $5 if they want to get a meal that includes a hamburger, a cheeseburger, or a hot dog, along with a cookie, a beverage, and a bag of potato chips. So that is happening today during lunch, but ever since this morning, they started, cooking up the food, so it smells like barbecue in here right now. And I'm hungry, and my lunchtime is not until another hour and a half. All right, but it's gonna be good. I have a snack so I can eat something right now while I wait for lunch, and I'm going to show you the rest of the things that we're gonna be doing today. Today, basically, we're gonna be continuing to read about inventors. We're going to review our vocabulary workshop unit 8 words, and they are going to take an assessment. I was going to do the FSA practice assessment today for reading on the laptops, but I have 4 students that are out on a field trip today, and I want to make sure that most of my students are here when I do that because they do need to make sure they take the practice assessment during school. So I'll be doing that on Tuesday next week instead of today. All right, so I can't wait to show you some things that I have been doing this week. Starting with today is Friday. So Friday is Funky T-shirt Friday. And I am wearing my I Love Friday shirt. So cute. The students are like, oh, that's a pun. You love puns, Miss Sanchez, don't you? I'm like, I do love puns. So yeah, this is my Funky T-shirt Friday for today. On Wednesday, one of my students came back from her spring break vacation. She had gone to Thailand at one point in her vacation. So she brought back this beautiful beaded bracelet. Let me go closer. So she brought back this beautiful beaded bracelet, this one right here, because this one is my African bead bracelet that I love. If you've seen my vlogs in the past, you notice that I wear a lot of these different ones. But this is the one that she brought me from Thailand. It's so nice and colorful. I love color. And these are just my mantra bands. I have like different mantra bands and I change them according to what I need to read as the day goes by. So that is the bracelet that my student got me from Thailand, which is really nice that she thought about me while she was on vacation. So it's really cool. All right, so I am going to now talk to you about a couple of other things. So I'm going to switch up the view of this camera because I want to show you some things that we've been working with. All right, let's get to that now. So this is my Funky Bunny example that I created for the students on Monday so that they had an idea of what the final product would look like. And if you followed me on my Instagram at Pencils and Magic Wands, I had already posted about this earlier this week. Over here, we have some of the other students' creations for their Funky Bunny limericks. And these are the student products that were created, but I just didn't have enough space outside. So I am just displaying them inside in our classroom. But they did a really nice job with their limericks and their designs of their bunnies. So I'm really proud of them. Now for our Wonders focus, like I said, we were going over Unit 4, Week 5, which is a poetry unit. We were going over the essential question, what shapes a person's identity? So all of the poems that we read were related to that essential question. We went over the vocabulary and some important poetry terms, such as metaphor, personification, imagery, and free verse. And I'm sorry, I said Unit 4, Week 5. This is Unit 6, Week 5. So this is one of the units that we went over. So all of these poems, like I said, go over a person's identity. So we discussed how the poem shows how a person's identity is shaped. We discussed personification. We discussed free verse, which is a type of poem that we were focusing on. We also discussed theme, the message the author or poet is trying to convey. We talked about imagery and the images they were able to picture based on the author's use of language. And of course, metaphor. So we read all of these beautiful poems. These are from the anthology. The previous poems were from their reading writing workshop books. And we also read the paired poems. And we ended with a beautiful one also by Langston Hughes. Actually, all of these were beautiful poems. And the students really enjoyed it. And we really had really great discussions about the elements of poetry, how free verse doesn't really follow rhyming patterns or meter or rhythm, but that it still shows the author's feelings and thoughts in a beautiful way, and the use of words through figurative language can help convey the message the author is trying to tell us, the reader. So we did that. We also wrapped up the unit before Unit 6, Week 5, which was Unit 4, Week 5, which was another poetry unit. And this one, the essential question, was the different ways that writers looked at success. So all of the poems that we read dealt with some kind of success. So the students needed to be focusing on how the author shows that the character is having success. So we went over vocabulary and other poetry terms such as stanza, denotation, connotation, and repetition. And these are the same things that I go over in the other poems in Unit 6, Week 5 to continue to reinforce. So we read these poems and we discussed theme, we discussed repetition, we discussed what are stanzas, how do we know when a stanza starts and when it ends and a new stanza begins. We discussed rhyming patterns and different figurative language that helps us understand what the author wants us to learn from their poem. The genre we were working with is narrative poems, so all of these poems had characters and it told some type of story through the poem. And again, theme, stanza and repetition, and connotation and denotation. So we read these two poems in the reading writing workshop, and we read this poem along with this poem in their literature anthology, and then we read the paired poems Genius and Winner, so that we can compare and contrast the two poems. So the students really enjoyed it and looked at different ways to see success, as well as look at the lesson or the theme the author was trying to tell us, the reader. Now, the current unit that we started working with yesterday, and I'm a little behind. We were supposed to have done this before spring break, but it's okay. We're in FSA review, so this is all review. So the other unit that we are starting with, which we started yesterday, is how can inventions solve problems? So we discussed read aloud, which is listening comprehension. We learned about George Washington Carver, and we are learning about inventions and how he was an inventor, how he had a problem, and how he found a solution to that problem. We went over the vocabulary, and we started reading about Stephanie Kowalik today and how she invented Kevlar. So we again discussed biography, which we have done in the past. We discussed problem and solution as a text structure, which we had done in the past. And we're going over main idea and summarizing, which again we have done in the past. So this is all really good review. And here are the strategies and the skills that we're working with, which I just mentioned, and learning more about Greek roots, which we have learned. And we actually got to read this with my homeroom class today. So we started reading How Ben Franklin Stole the Lightning in my homeroom class this morning, so that they can see how there were different problems and how each problem led to a solution, and then the main solution that the story is trying to tell us. But it's basically a biography told in a very entertaining way about his life with all these beautiful illustrations. So we had a really good discussion about Benjamin Franklin, and they didn't even realize that he had ideas for a lot of the things we use today, such as the public library, hospitals, the postal service, even daylight savings time. So they had a really entertaining time learning about him and what his son did with flying the kite with a key to capture lightning, and how that led to the invention of the lightning rod. So that was a really good story to read, and it led to great discussions. So that's basically what we've done this week as far as wonders go. And yeah, let me get back to some other things that I want to share with you. So other than the Funky Bunny Limerick Craftivity and the Wonders reading units that we have done this week, we actually haven't had time to read A Wrinkle in Time novel. And I know I put it in my lesson plans for this week, but we just haven't had the time to do it. So I will try to do my best next week to continue reading it so that we can finish. Right now, we're currently in chapter 8. So we're not that far off from the end, since there's only, I believe, 12 chapters in the book. So we're getting very close. We're reaching a moment that the story is going to start to have a climax. So it's going to be very exciting. So I can't wait to finish that novel before we start with our testing for the state assessment. All right, other than that, I also wanted to share that I have started to get back to doing more of my personal art creations and drawing in my sketchbook. And I know I mentioned it in a previous vlog, but I did create a new Instagram account called Artistic Whims, and that's where I started to share some of my artwork as of this past Sunday. And on Tuesday, I discovered this hashtag called the 100-Day Project, where all these different artists, no matter what kind of art you work with, you are being challenged to post something for the next 100 days. So I started to create something really cute, and I shared it already in my Artistic Whims, but I would like to share that with you right now. So I originally created this logo to go along with my Artistic Whims Instagram, but I decided to go with a different logo. This I did post as my first post in that IG account. And let me show you what I decided to go with as my official logo for that IG. I found this beautiful sketchbook at Cracker Barrel when I went to eat on Saturday. And I just had to have it because I love this little closure. And it's a leather, soft leather kind of book. So when I opened it up, it had all these blank pages, which I love. But as I start to draw on it, I figure out that I can't really erase well on this type of paper. So if I do sketches in here, I can't make that many mistakes. So they're just going to be raw sketches, not meant to be erased. And because the fibers come off the page and onto the eraser, and they stick to the eraser, and then I have to rub it off the eraser before the eraser can erase again. But basically, I used this book, and my first entry was this. So this I decided to use as my official logo for my Artistic Whims page, and it's just me as a cartoon version. This is my little type of cartoon, and she is like a pixie because I love fairies, surrounded by nature and mountains and water, which are some of my favorite things. So that is my logo, and this is my new little sketchbook that I got for myself. Now, one of my first creations for the 100-day project was actually in this sketchbook, which I got from Michael's. Actually, I didn't get it from Michael's. A student got it for me a couple years ago as a teacher gift, but it is at Michael's. So if you're interested in this, it's only $7.99 at Michael's. But I want to show you what I created, which is this little octopus right here. The idea just came to me on Tuesday, even before I knew there was a 100-day project. It was like the idea coming into my head, like the character himself was talking to me. He was like, I am a little octopus holding an umbrella at the bottom of the ocean. Can you please draw me in your sketchbook? So I went ahead and I did. And then I showed it to my students the very next day on Wednesday. And they were like, how did you do that? That doesn't look like you even drew it. That looks like you printed it somewhere. And they were like, can you show us, you know, how you create a piece of art? So we had like 5 minutes before we had to switch classes, and learning had already ended. So I'm like, okay, let me take these 5 minutes to draw this. And I drew this really fast. Now, I didn't color it, obviously, completely in those 5 minutes, but in less than 5 minutes, I drew this, and then I started coloring it with my new markers, which I haven't used. These, actually, this was the first time I ever colored with markers, with art markers. My usual medium for coloring is color pencils. I love coloring with color pencils, but I'm actually happy with how I was able to color this with markers, and I really like these markers. So I colored this on Wednesday, and I drew it for my students so that they can see how I just draw that really quickly. And then for yesterday's submission for the 100-day project, because this was my day 2 submission, I decided to draw this. So the little octopus, which, by the way, his name is Octavius, and my students nickname him Octi for short. He told me, or the thought came into my head, that he wanted to meet the Little Mermaid. So I drew her in my particular style of art. And he said that he wanted to be fancy. So he wanted to wear like a bow tie and a top hat so he could meet her. Those are the ideas that come into my head. I know they're silly, but that's just me. It's me. This is what I love to do. So that is what I have created in my IG account, Artistic Whims, and I'm having a great time going back to drawing, which is something that I truly, truly enjoy doing. So yeah, I just wanted to share that little artistic side of me because it is so much of who I am, and I consider that kind of art to be self-care. And when I do that, I just get into a really good, happy mood. And even going back and looking at my creations, I get so happy and elated, and I just start laughing because I get it when authors say, you know, these characters just come into my head and they tell me what they want to do and who they want to see and who they want to meet. And now I get it, because that's the same thing with creating this character. It just came into my head. The idea comes into my mind, and the character already has their own personality. I already have an idea of what to draw for him today. So if you're interested in following me and my 100-day project as my artwork goes, go ahead and give Artistic Whims a follow if you'd like. It's only a suggestion if you like this kind of thing. All right, talking about art, it's related to art, not my art. I recently found a really good stamp creator on Etsy, and I really love her art style. So I purchased 2 stamps from her. So I would love to show you what those stamps look like right now. So this Etsy artist that creates stamp is called, their Etsy shop is called Pueblo, and her name is Devin. And this is how my stamps came packaged in their little packaging. And it has her little made with love at the studio of Pueblo. So this is how my 2 little stamps came packaged. And now let me take them out of the bag so I can show you what they look like. So these are the stamps right here. So I had her create a Pencils and Magic Wands one, and Miss Sanchez Thinks You're Magical. And she had some ideas similar to this already on her Etsy shop, but she was so great to work with me and create these images for me and personalize them to me. So I am so grateful for her. She creates the drawings herself. So these are her characters that she creates artistically, and the stamp herself, she makes it as well. She makes self-inked stamps as well as these type of block stamps, which I prefer the block stamps because I can choose the different inks that I want to use for them. On the back of this card, she shows the different ways that you can care for your stamp and how you can reach her as well. And yeah, these stamps are adorable, and I am so excited that I got them this week, and I can't wait to use them on the students' work. Well, this one is more for me and things like that. Actually, my students love that, so I don't think they would mind me stamping their work with that, but they would love this as well. So yeah, I got to design the little person, and I told her, can you put like a little wizard hat and the stars, and can you make this a magic wand and a pencil? So she sent me the art proofs, and she made sure that I was okay with them before she went ahead and made the stamps. So I really love it. I really like the customer service that she provided for me and her quality of work. So if you're interested, you can check her out at pinkpueblo.com or her Instagram as well, or her Etsy shop. So yep, these are my 2 new stamps. And in case you're interested in knowing what are the color markers that I used to color those art creations that I made, these I got from Amazon, and yes, they come with a case, and it's 72 random colors. So I know I have 0 all the way to 120, but not all the numbers are there in between. There's 72 colors in here, and I did do swatches in my sketchbook so I can see the colors, and I do have a representation from all the colors in the rainbow and different shadings. I did put my Jelly Roll pen in here. That's how I do the white accents on my drawings, and I do have my mechanical pencil in here too, so I can draw and sketch. But these are the pens, but these are the markers, and the brand name is, let's turn it this way. The brand name is Bianyo, and they're alcohol-based ink. And I got this whole set for $39.99 in Amazon, which I thought was a great price for art markers. Because usually if you want like the top quality, which are Copic, you're looking at over $200 just to get 72 markers. So this was good in my teacher budget, and I'm actually happy with how they color. So just wanted to share that in case you were interested. All right, so now it's time to run and get the kids from music, so I'll catch up with you sometime later today. So I just realized a big oops. So my students had their vocabulary workshop unit 8 for homework this week, and they had to study those words, and we just reviewed them and everything. When I go to distribute all the tests for unit 8, I discover, as you can probably tell by this paper, that I actually copied the wrong test. So I had to improvise. I used my Scan Pro app on my phone to take a picture of the actual test, and I did both sides of that paper. So here it is. It's over here. Just turn over here. So this is vocabulary unit 8 and the back. So I just used my Scan Pro, saved it as a PDF, uploaded it into my Dropbox so I can instantly have it on my computer. And that's what I am printing right now for my afternoon class. I did it really quickly with my morning class in a flash because they needed to make sure they took their test before they went to lunch, because I don't see them again until Monday. So yeah, mistakes like this happen sometimes, but at least I was able to think quick on my feet and get it fixed. It's my lunchtime, and I just want to say I just came back from downstairs during the barbecue. I feel like there was some kind of miscommunication, but anyway, I just had to spend a couple of minutes of my lunchtime, which you know we don't have a lot of, trying to get my students barbecue who prepaid, get their food, get their bags of chips, get their waters, pass out their food, and then come over here. It was very chaotic and frustrates me a little bit, but you know what? It's done. I'm in my room now. I'm going to enjoy my lunch and some little rest and relaxation before it's time to do it all over again with my afternoon class. So let me show you what I have for lunch today. So for lunch today, I have a 50-50 spring mix salad mix with my chili lime dressing from Annie's dressing, I think it is, and my sausage and marinara pasta, which multicolor pasta, and some applesauce. And a student actually thought of me and got me a vegan muffin. Now, I am not vegan, as you can tell by the sausage, but I cannot eat eggs or any dairy products that come from milk because of allergies. Not lactose intolerance, it's just allergies. So she thought of me because her mom made some muffins that are vegan, and I might be eating this later on. So yummy, and thank you to my awesome student for thinking of me. They always think of me, whether it's in this way or with drawings that they give to me or little notes of encouragement. My students are awesome. I love you guys. And talking about vocabulary workshop, I actually found the new improved website that goes along with the book that we have. And basically what I was able to do was I clicked on Unit 8, and all I did to find this website was I just typed Vocabulary Workshop Unit 8 Hangman, and it popped up this website, which is the new one, because before it looked a lot different. But what I like about the new website is that there is a practice quiz that the kids can take at home or whenever they can to kind of like practice what the words are, and then at the bottom they can do a self-check to see if they got it right. And I also like that they have other games such as concentration, using antonyms, synonyms. They have flashcards, which is a game. The word search is also a game, and some graphic organizers as well. But we basically used Hangman to help review our words, and the hint is down here. So for example, this one is a portion of food allowed for one meal or one day, and that's ration. So they just type or come to the board and click on the letter. I had the kids come to the board, to the Promethean board, and they just tapped on the letter that they thought was right. Now, if the letter they clicked on was incorrect, they will hear this sound. And then as you saw, one of the food dishes were taken away by the ants. And there's some other picture that came up with a snowman. So if they clicked on a letter incorrectly, then the snowman would melt. If they got the word correct, then it would sound like this. And then I will call the next student over, and then it will give them another hint for the next word. And as you can see, it keeps a timer for each word and a score as well. So we did that with all 12 words, and the students really enjoyed it, and even asked me to send out the link so that they can study for next week's Unit 9 that we're gonna be working with. So I just wanted to share that with you. That's one of the things that we did to help review our vocabulary before the students took the test. All right, so it's the end of the day, Friday afternoon. I'm very excited. I just finished having a meeting in the principal's office because I will show you in a moment my shirt and everything that was given to me. Tomorrow, I'm gonna be running the superintendent's 5K in my district. So all these teachers, parents, administrators from all the different schools in our school district are going to be participating in this superintendent's 5K tomorrow. And I'm very excited to participate. So I'll be showing you my shirt. But I wanted to go ahead and finish off what we did for today. And as you can see behind me, I finished a display for all my students, Funky Bunny limericks. Everyone finished, and I think they did a pretty good job. So I had already showed you the ones that were outside. So now I just want to show you the ones that are in here. So let me get to that now. And I also want to show you the PowerPoint that I created in order to teach my students about limericks and also help them understand the pattern along with some examples so that they knew what to do when it was time to do their bunny limerick. So let me go ahead and show you this awesome display behind me a little better. So as you can see, now I have 2 full boards of bunny limerick or funky bunny limericks that my students have created. So here I have 18, so that will equal like 1 class, and then outside I have 18 more. And I'm really proud with their outcome of the project and how they did and what they learned. So here is the limericks PowerPoint that I put together really quickly, and basically I'm gonna run through it. It's not very long. It goes over what is a limerick, and it shows them the 5-line rule for limericks and the AABBA rhyming pattern, and how lines 1, 2, and 5 need to rhyme, and lines 3 and 4 need to rhyme, and that they have to follow a specific rhythmic pattern. And then I gave them an example. This is the first one. So there once was a bunny named Rosie who wanted to feel rather cozy. She grabbed a blanket and packed her basket, that warm, cozy bunny named Rosie. Here's example 2. There once was a rabbit named Peter who put some large eggs in a beater. He whisked them up fast and had a great blast, that awesome great cooker named Peter. And the third one. There once was a bunny named Hopper who wanted to be a great author. Some words she did type and made quite a hype, that one famous author named Hopper. And these are all written by me. And then I gave them a frame so that they can follow along with what was expected. And I gave them a frame because this is the first time that they ever wrote limericks. But hopefully now that they have some practice, they can go ahead and write in their poetry portfolios next week their own version of a different limerick based on a different person that they think of. So this is what I did in order to help my students write their Funky Bunny limericks. And by the way, I am really digging my new wallpaper on my computer, which also shows up enough Promethean, but you can't really see it because it's dark. But the Justice League, they pretty much rock. And I love me, my Wonder Woman, great role model. So yeah, Justice League for the win. Love it. And going back to my artwork, I just wanted to show you this quick sketch. I actually drew this while we were having a faculty meeting this week. Like I said, I have ADHD, and in order to help my brain focus on meetings like this, I usually tend to doodle. And this is when I was thinking up my idea for Octi meeting Ariel. And I just wanted to figure out how I would do it since I really never drawn Ariel in any way before. And I was kind of wanting to have an idea what I was going to do when I went home to kind of figure out how I was going to draw it. In the end, it turned into what I showed you previously, but these are the little mini cutouts that I made because my students loved it so much that they said, you know, we would love a copy of it. So what I did is I took a photo of my picture in my sketchbook and then I uploaded it to Dropbox. Then I put it into PowerPoint and I printed it in our color laser printer, 6 little tiny ones of these per sheet. And then I printed them out, cut them, and every student got a copy of my artwork. All right, so that's basically how my day went, and I wanted to show you really quickly my race t-shirt for tomorrow. So they gave me my package today, and it says Superintendent's Challenge 5K Race for Education. And I actually haven't ran a race since November, and even that race, I really didn't run it. I was more like walking it. That was the 10K from Flanagan's. And it was great. I had a great time, but I didn't really run that race. So I haven't really run a race in a while, but I have been training here and there. So I think I'm going to run and walk the race tomorrow. So let's see how long it takes me to finish. And on the back is all the sponsors for the race. This is my bib number, which I'm very excited. And they also gave us in our race packet a little can holder to keep your canned drinks, you know, nice and cold. I don't really drink soda, but that's pretty neat. Maybe you could just give it to someone at home. Cigna is our medical insurance plan. They give us a nifty hand sanitizer, which I thought was really neat. I want to see if I can do what Michelle at Pocketful Primary did, which is to put the remote for the wireless doorbell in here. Maybe it'll work, so I'm gonna have to try it out. And they gave us this little container with Band-Aids, so I thought that was pretty neat, along with the race pins, the safety pins, so that we can put on our bibs and our shirts tomorrow. So I will let you know next week how my race goes, unless I want to vlog a little bit about it. I haven't decided yet if I do want to vlog it, so we'll see how it goes. I will be letting you know. So all in all, it was a really good week. I did underestimate how long it was going to take my students to do the Funky Bunny activity. I thought it would take me a day, maybe a day and a half. It ended up taking me 3 days. And I believe it was because of the writing, because it wasn't just here's a bunny pattern and go ahead and create a design. I had them actually create a limerick, and it was difficult for them because they haven't really written that kind of poetry before, and they needed to follow the pattern for that poetry. So it was a little challenging for them, but I'm very proud of what they ended up creating and writing. And I think it was worth it because we ended up connecting it to what we had already been going over as far as poetry goes. And then we ended up going ahead and, like I previously mentioned, starting the inventions unit, at least with my homeroom, because my afternoon class, they just didn't have time to do that. We did everything the morning class did except the inventions unit 5, week 3. So we will be doing that next week and catching up on that. Other than that, I think it was a really productive week. We had really great discussions in reading. We were going over reading standards, writing standards, and I just feel good about it. So I'm really happy. I want to thank you for coming along with me this week and watching. If you like this video, please hit the big like button. Also, leave a comment down below and tell me what you think about it, or if you have any questions, go ahead and ask them. If you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing so that you don't miss any future videos that I might post. You can just hit that subscription button right here. Also, if you aren't subscribed, don't forget to hit the bell for notifications so you will get notifications of when a new video pops up. I do try to post new videos at least once a week, and I can't wait to see you next time. Have a beautiful, magical day, and don't forget to smile.